Got a lot of noise today for some reason. A lot of hiss. Are we live? We're live. I like the opening where it's like, are we live? Are we there? Are we here
Can you hear
yet?
me now?
How about now? Are you ready? So welcome everybody. I'm an hour late from our scheduled or not really scheduled time. And the reason for that, there's a very good reason for it. I had to go get my 359M, the OEM ZCP or competition package black wheels. I dropped them off yesterday to get tires put on. And now the good part is, see, this has taken me many years to master how to get the guys at like a tire place or a like a mechanic shop or the dealership, how to get them on your side. It's a very calculated, very systematic approach to get them to understand my level of fear and me dropping my wheels off there, but then appreciation if they were to take better care and maybe provide me with a little bit more access. So all the guys now there, I've got them watching the videos. They know what cars I have. They're fired up to which one of these going on. And I always palm them like something significant, like 50 or like 100, not like $12. Like I spent $1,200 on tires and mounting and balancing anyway. They hooked me up, so it was probably more like $1,500 if they didn't hook me up a little bit. I didn't ask for that. I didn't even suggest it, and so I palmed them. I palmed them a hundo, and they give me special treatment. It's freaking awesome.
There you go, and now they know kind of your story too, and they know exactly what you like, and
yeah.
And I imagine somebody out there is watching, and they say, "Hey, I want to go. Like, where did you go today? What's the name of the place?
What's it called? Tire Choice." Something like that.
Okay, so someplace local.
Yeah. But normally local isn't an option. You
Right.
know. Can you bring the gains down a little bit on the headphones?
And I need to go grab somebody. I'll be right back. We have a surprise.
So anyway, it took bring me up a little bit more. Test. Hello, everybody. We're not live. We're just here.
Yeah, we're practicing getting warmed up.
Oh my gosh, what is that picture?
Hey, how is the 1M?
Did you hear me talking about it?
No. Well, how did it go? Here, talk on the mic here.
Oh, no. I don't want to do that.
We want to test it. Come on.
Just say like test 1, 2.
Yeah.
Well, I'll test it, but I don't want to be on a...
So you drove. I need to borrow the truck
Why do you put these things on?
so you can hear yourself, so you don't talk too.
You hear myself?
There you go.
So how was that? You drove the 1M. Did you like drive around the block, or did
That
you
makes
just?
me nervous. No, I just drove from the house here.
Yeah.
But I almost got a ticket if someone would have seen me. Well, for two things, speeding,
You
obviously.
almost got a ticket.
But then I ran the red light.
Why? Did you
Because
bottom out or hit the front lip or something?
No, I didn't do any mistakes. Wendy was driving behind me. She can vouch for it. But I
Yeah.
drove really fast.
Yeah.
I was saying it's my favorite car of yours right now, I think, because the white one I'm too scared to drive.
Well, that's smart. Yeah.
The blue one, I don't even know if you've had me drive it
Yeah,
yet.
you drove it home the first night.
Oh, yeah, that's
Remember?
true. But this one is like not quite as fancy, so I feel comfortable in it.
It was $55,000. Did you know that? It's more money than the M3.
Oh, no, I wasn't aware of that. I try to put in earplugs when you're telling me anything about how much cars cost.
Yeah.
But it just felt more comfortable, and I was like, oh, shoot, I'm going for it. So I just you should have seen how fast I went through the neighborhood because I know like none of the kids are home or anything, so I was just went for it.
Yeah.
But when I was turning left at the light up there, I already waited 1 or 2 cycles. I'm like, oh no, I got this car. I'm going for it. And running through the red, I remembered that the police station is right across the street. And I was like, oh crap, this will be a good story if I get a ticket the first time driving this orange car.
Yeah, it's 1.1 miles from our house to here.
And all that went through my head is that'll be a funny story. I'll take a picture of my ticket and post it, or
Did you go take a gander at my new wheels over there?
Nope.
Come on.
They're here.
Yeah.
No, I didn't look for them.
Yeah. All right. We're live, by the way. How many people are watching? A couple thousand? Oh, 106.
Oh,
Same
yeah, a
thing.
couple thousand.
I'm just
106
joking.
people.
Yeah. All right,
The
get out of
video
here.
too?
Get out of here. You're boring me. You're boring me.
No, I'm mad. I could see this scrolling, but I didn't know the camera.
Yeah.
Ooh. Okay, bye.
See ya. So anyway, that's the story of how we get wheels done, how you get done. Grease the palm, tell them a little bit about your story, get them on your side, and then hopefully they take care of you. I don't care about getting deals. I don't care about any of that. What I want is them to not jack up the darn wheels, which is kind of hard to do if they have road force mounting, balancing, Hunter road force, and a touchless mounting system, but they, to take some extra care and not bang stuff off the wheels is usually helpful.
Now, is that something you do for tinting, for valet, for anywhere else?
Well, I wouldn't valet, but yeah, if I did valet, then I would say, hey, dude, can I hook you? Let me hook you up. And I don't like dance around it and say, hey, I want to hook you up.
Right.
I want to buy lunch and then some, and I want to pay for dinner tonight. And the reason, and I'll tell them just straight up, the reason why I'm doing that is I want you to help me out here. And then they get it, usually the case. And then they hopefully, some would probably argue that I'm annoying and obnoxious, but I think that most of the time they kind of appreciate that. They appreciate the money, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And they may get a little nervous knowing that, okay, the obsessed guy's coming, but it hopefully validates them a little bit, and that the obsessed guy chose them to do the work for them.
Yeah, and I'm sure they get tired of working on Camrys and Focuses and Tacomas. And
I'm not looking at Facebook here. I'm looking at my topic
your
list.
Notes?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
What do you have there? What's first on the list today?
Great news. I got M Performance seats for the M3. So they're the stock, the standard. The big thing about the M Performance seats is they're basically Recaro Sportsters at a massive premium, but they come integrated with BMW Molex plugs. They plug directly in. They come with side airbags. They're designed to work with the seat belts. So they're designed for the BMW, for the M3 or the 1M or any of that E-Series chassis. So it makes it really, really, the fit and finish is perfect. And then of course, how they look. And the main thing is it transformed the 1M. I mean, sitting in those seats are amazing. So somebody tagged me, thanks to the gentleman who tagged me on M3 Post, and I immediately bought them instantaneously. And then worked with a dude out in Las Vegas who had them, and we got a pallet, both of them pallet. And then, of course, you orchestrated the delivery, the pickup, and now hopefully delivery tomorrow. So hopefully the darn freight company doesn't destroy them. But we wrapped the heck out of them, or he wrapped the heck out of them, so they should be here tomorrow to put in the M3.
That was a cool moment for me. If I could just share a little brief, this is kind of the relationships and that we talk about. I called, you asked me to get everything set up to do a freight transfer from Las Vegas here to Florida. So I've never done that in my life, and I called and emailed all the right people and said, hey, help me, what do I do? And as it turns out, the guy who works for the freight line in Las Vegas is a follower of the YouTube channel. He's a fan. He saw Obsessed Garage. He reached out to me. He's like, hey, what can I do to help? So I called, spoke with him. He walked me through step by step, got everything lined up just right. And it was because of, it would have been a little bit more difficult if we didn't have that relationship and if he didn't know the story. But having that just made it way easier for me. I would have fumbled through it otherwise, but it was a cool experience just to be able to say, hey, I know who you guys are, and here, let me help you.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we had set up, in case anybody's wondering how you would do this, we had set up an Old Dominion freight relationship or freight account. So we had them come in here, so that way we don't do a lot of freight shipping out of here, or virtually none, or very, very little. And you can use UPS freight or something like that. But I found that the nicest looking and highest quality trucks and people and lift gates and the highest quality actual handling of the products were from anytime we got an Old Dominion freight shipment. It seemed that they were in better better standard. Either them or Estes seemed to have been the best options for us. And so it made sense that we call. So what you do is you call them. They provide a bill of lading. Usually you have to get some sort of guidance on what to call it. What
right.
what classification.
Right.
Yeah. So what class is it? Once you figure out the class of product, you palletize it, so you strap it to a pallet, and then you tell them, when you schedule the pickup appointment, you tell them, look, they'll usually send you the bill of lading, tell you how to fill it out. You fill it out. You have it to provide the driver. You keep a copy for yourself. The driver, see, the way that freight companies work is the drivers usually have, they have some liability to, through their license and through, depending on how the company's set up. But the drivers want to make sure that it's wrapped properly because they're responsible for it from them to the terminal. And so the driver comes, they pick it up, you give them the bill of lading, they give you the receipt, then it disappears, and it's done. So, and all the freight companies are the same. And, as a consumer, we're usually used to like some big long procedure. These, like, you could actually just print the bill of lading out and just call them and say, come get something.
Yeah, it was nice and easy.
Yeah,
for sure.
But they bill you. Like, there's no like, hey, can you tell me how much this is going to be? Unless you have a scale, they can measure it. It's like, it is a bit of a hope and pray. You ship it off, and it's going to cost what it costs. So who the heck knows?
Now, and explain for me and for those who may be wondering, these seats, like, are they hard to come by? Why in the world are we shipping them from Las Vegas on a freight? Can you not find them locally at a dealership or what?
I don't know how many years they had these seats available, but they were a BMW Performance, which is OE level or OE quality BMW seats that were manufactured for them by, it was a partnership with Recaro. And they made those seats for, I don't know, several years, but they don't make them any longer. And so now there's however many there are, that's how many we've got. And so they I&D has a set on their site for $14,000. I bought these for $7,500, and they're in pristine condition. And I don't think I'll lose money on them. I do think I'm going to keep the M3 for a while, so I don't
Wow.
I don't think I certainly won't lose money on them. At least I don't think. Worst case, I'll be able to part out the M3 or sell the M3, or now maybe I can do a raffle like what I'm intending to do with the 1M here. I've got to get on calling an attorney again. I'm not ready to get rid of the 1M. I haven't even started yet. We've got a lot of stuff going for that. So let me explain. I'll explain to you what the plan is for the 1M. So I've finalized in my head what we're going to do, or what I'm going to do. I just put the factory trunk back on, put the OE a lip spoiler or trunk lips deck lid spoiler on that. I had to order a new BMW badge, so that should be here today to finish that up. There's some deeper scratches, probably from my darn fishing line, so I probably have to revise my procedure a little bit on that. Part of it is, it's got to be from the darn fishing line from removal. I've seen guys use a microfiber towel to cut the 3M tape, but I think it's finally time. I need to get a gosh darn heat gun. Every time I do it, I'm like, I'm getting a heat gun next time, and then my fingers are all worn down to nothing, and I'm like, I'm going to get a heat gun, and then I never do. So I need to get a heat gun. I want a Milwaukee to match all my other stuff. So trunk's done. I decided I'm not going to do the black line. There's a company that makes, or I guess it's BMW. They make a tinted or smoked black taillight, or a set of taillights. They're like $500, $400 some dollars. But I decided I don't like that. I'd never liked tinted taillights, and then I would have to get tinted the little center light, the little center brake light in order to match it. So I'm just not going to do that. I did get a Florida Gators plate as prescribed by Michelle. That was the requirement, that I had to get a Florida Gators plate if I was going to get it. I didn't get a personalized plate because by the time I get the personalized plate, the car will probably be gone. But wheels, so we just talked about the wheels. So the wheels are here. I've got to prep those, denib them, of course. We've got to prepare the tires. I've got to protect or put pearl on the tires. Then I'm going to put two coats of G-Technic C5, which shameless plug, I now sell and have in stock. And so we did. So I'll put those on, and I bought a set of 5mm and 10mm spacers to play with, putting spacers on them just to get them flush, figure out what works. I did 255, 275, front and rear. So I went with a smaller size, so I shouldn't have to worry about rubbing. The HMS exhaust is ordered, so I'm putting the downpipes back on. I'll probably put those back on this weekend because you guys heard the thing start up. It sounds god awful.
It doesn't sound good.
Yeah, I mean it's just terrible.
I was sitting here and getting that cold start. Oh, geez.
Yeah, it's just, the cold start is just like an instant fart blast, really, really high pitched. And that's partly the catless downpipe. So I'm gonna put the downpipes back on. HMS exhaust should be here. They're building it now, so in 3 or 4 weeks. So I have the full downpipe back exhaust. I'm gonna do a gentleman's tune. So I'm gonna do an active tune. We're gonna ditch the Cobb tune. I'm going to talk Dynan into, because I'm going to visit Dynan in a few weeks. I'm going to talk them into sponsoring or sending me parts for the 1M. So I think I might take the AST coilovers off, which are really nice. But I might do like the even softer OE-like Dynan coilover with the factory shocks. And then I'm going to probably do the Dynan intake with the Dynan oil cooler. I did figure out you have to relocate, or you need a new oil cooler. It's not a separate intercooler. It's a new oil cooler. So we'll do that likely. I'm doing a active blow-off valve and active auto work charge pipe. So basically I'm taking every single part that Alan had on it off, and I should have just bought the car stock. But whatever.
So it's fair to say we have a lot of 1M content coming.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. I want to read a couple questions here that are related to the 1M. No 1M plate. No, he addressed that, sadly. Anything performance-wise that's going to be done to the 1M other than exhaust and intake?
I don't think so. Just the tune. I know N54s are highly, highly tunable. You can do pure turbos, or you could do, a Dynan turbo, or you can do, there's several companies that do it, where you upgrade the turbos, or you could go single turbo. I'm not going to go to those lengths. I'm going to make it just nice OEM plus. The other thing I learned is that when you have big torque in that car, the chassis can't handle it. The chassis it's just like sliding around all over the place. I'm not a living on the edge of the seat of my pants kind of guy. So I think it would be more fun if I actually detune it a little bit. I want just clean, reliable. I think 400 foot-pounds of torque, so around 400 horse, 360 to 380 horsepower and 400 foot-pounds of torque, I think is going to be great in that car. I'm going to, we'll see how the 275s do in the rear. I don't intend on doing any major engine modifications. Again, I probably won't have it long enough to do that.
All right. For the weight weenies out there, how much do the HREs for the M3 weigh?
I don't know. That's a good question. I will measure them or weigh them, but they should be somewhere around 18 to 19 pounds. Unlike the 359M, the wheels for the 1M are pretty heavy. They're like 23 pounds. They're cast. So I think it's like 21 and 23 or something like that, or maybe it's 20. It's in the low 20s, but maybe it's 23, 25. So these are much heavier than what's going on the M3. They're HRE R101 lightweights. They should be pretty light.
Let's see. I know the answer to this question, but I'm going to read it anyway for entertainment purposes. Let me find it. Sorry here. Would you be willing to detail Chris's car to demonstrate how someone new to detailing would detail from start to end?
I mean, I don't think it would really be realistic. I don't think it'd be realistic. The paint is, clear coat has failed in some spots, and you would see a massive transformation, but it would never come back to life. It would never be perfect. But maybe we could do it someday.
Let's see. And Finney, just back on, I have a 2005 Camry with 240-ish thousand miles on it, and I took it over from my wife last March, and I haven't washed it since. So that's a little bit of background there.
It rains periodically.
When it rains, I just go spray Bee Maker on it and hope that helps. Let's see. What specifically is it that makes you like BMW? We talk a lot about your 1M, M3. You have a lot of BMW history. Why?
That's a good question. I don't know. A lot of it is I think it's they call it the ultimate driving machine. I think it's the feel of the car. I've driven and owned quite a few cars. I haven't driven everything, but I've driven a lot. And to me, I'm not a big horsepower guy. I'm not a go fast guy. I'm not a go to the track guy. I'm a experience guy. What is the experience like? What has the steering feel? How does the rear end of the car feel? I think that makes the biggest difference for me. I've only driven a couple of Mercedes. And one of the biggest flaws to Mercedes is the rear end. You get a lot of wheel hop, and they make big power, but they have a hard time with making that power usable. So I've always been a big fan of BMW because of the usability of the cars. And that's probably why I've never been really excited about like an M5 or an M6 getting huge horsepower, because then it becomes less usable. The thing I'm really enjoying about the M3 is that I can rag the thing out, bounce it off the rev limiter, and I'm not. I'm going fast, but I'm not going like 140. So there are certainly some flaws to BMW. The transmission shift feel isn't as good. But I think for me, the biggest thing that I like as I think and analyze about this is steering. How does the steering translate? And then I think they're a wonderful balance of clean, nice, high quality, but not overdone. So they're actually less. I think their interiors are less quality or less done, if you will, than an Audi. But I just love the seating position, the way you sit in it. Go get in a GT350, which is a superior car to an E92 in every way. Destroys it. It's faster, other than being heavier. But just drive the two of them, and you'll feel a significant difference. Your seating position is different. When you touch a button, it's different. The steering is different. The steering's great in a GT350, but it's a different experience. Same thing with when I drove the ZL1, Camaro. That was a great car, but it just doesn't have the dynamics that a BMW has. That's what does it for me.
All right, so we're coming up on the finale, the conclusion of the pressure washer experiment. What lessons were learned? What do you think going forward? Do you have any news to share in terms of what it's going to look like in the store?
Yeah, so Bryce and I and you, we've been working on this like crazy. I lost a little steam here the last week. We have to finish the K5, K4, K5, K2, K4, K5 Karchers. We have to finish those, finish that process. I think those are going to be much less viable just because of the clunkiness you have to go through to modify them, to put a hose and stuff on it. So we have the Ryobi product line. It'll probably never be finished, but we have a configurator, which we found out after spending 1,000 hours on it that it doesn't work on mobile. So if you're going to configure, you need to go to PC or Mac. You need to go to your actual computer to do it. So on iOS, it just doesn't, or Android, it doesn't work for squat. So the Ryobi configurator is done. The Greenworks configurator is done, and the Sunjo configurator is done. I think Bryce has the AR done and the Karcher done. We're just waiting to get the quick disconnect packages and stuff like that completed. So the Ryobi, Greenworks, Sunjo, everything's live. We'll probably have to make a shotgun solution, a solution without a wand. We've covered 90 of the 100 potentials that you would need to know in order to buy, a pressure washer. The problem with giving you 90 different variants is then it's confusing. It's difficult. So, and even then, there's 10. I get an email every day. Well, what about this or what about that? So it'll be evolving over time. So we have the buying experience pretty well done. And I've got to do the same thing for Krensla, where we do the Krensla configurator, and that's done as well. We just have to organize the site a little bit better. So we'll finish the project here probably in the next 2 to 3 weeks. We'll have all the configurators done, all the product lines done. What's coming is, of course, the video on the Karcher stuff to finish the Karcher line. Then I'll do a wrap-up of which ones, which of each line would I recommend you buy. And then we'll do a which should you buy, and I'm almost certain it's the Karcher K1700 Cube. Out of all of those pressure washers, those are fit, finish, design, setup, the way the motor sounds, the way it performs. They all perform rather similarly. So I've actually been in talks with Karcher, in the possibility. I think it's almost good enough for me to put my stamp of approval on it. It's what we'll use on our pool deck. I don't want to give Michelle a Krenz because she'll destroy it. As bulletproof as they are, she'll find a way to mess it up, seize up the engine or something, or the motor or something like that. Don't call it an engine; someone will kill me. Motor. It's electric. It's a motor. So the problem is so I call them, and the margin. So those things sell for $139 everywhere. They listed at $169. This is for the K1700, the cart model. So they listed at $169. It would have to be sold for $139. That's what's sold everywhere. They sell it direct on Amazon themselves for $139. So clearly there are margins in it, right? There are clearly margins in it because they would have to pay Amazon 20 to 40% in order to sell it on Amazon, and they provide it Prime as well. And so if I'm going to sell it and provide it as a solution for somebody who wants an entry-level pressure washing solution, like entry level, they were giving me, I think it was 8.8% margin, because I think I'd buy it. I think it was $126 and 126 and a quarter is what I would buy it for. So it was like $12.25 in profit, which was like 8.8% margin. But the problem is I got to pay you two jokers. I've got to pay tax. I've got to pay for every dollar or every transaction. Just the transaction alone is 2%. You sometimes you make money, sometimes you lose money on shipping. So I would have to pay people to buy a Karcher pressure washer, which I just won't do it. I just won't sell it. But it is something that I never in a million years thought I would consider. And I've called and even talked to them about, so with all the warranty issues, what happens? They have a 2-year, basically no questions asked, if the thing stops working. Very little proof. You call them and they send you a new one. And they won't call us. Or if they call us, we'll just send them on to Karcher. Because I do think we'll sell lots and lots of those. But what I don't want to end up with, Krenzla's, it's a very small or very low, we have to fix it factor. With Karcher, especially the commercial, the non-commercial line like this would be much more difficult. So I'm gonna do my recommended. We're gonna dissect a couple of the Sunjoes that are basically unsellable. Maybe whatever else I don't sell, we'll dissect them. We'll chop them apart and see what the motor looks like. Make a video on that, and then of course I'm gonna try to buy some of the other pressure washers that I can get to test yet, and we'll do a mid-tier line test with the Sunjo Pro and the AR Pro and the Comet and the Krenza. So we'll compare all of those. So I'll have a lot more content, but not as concentrated. I need some time to recover. This has been a brutal process.
And we still have some of those available right there in the OG Marketplace.
I'm begging you, yeah. They're OG Marketplace on Facebook, or just message me. Email Matt@obsessgarage.com or Chris@obsessgarage.com, and we'll find one for you. I'm forcing people to buy it with the ultimate package because I'm telling you, it you could almost take the pressure washer and put it like behind a wall somewhere, and your experience is completely transformed. My good buddy Kevin Plunkett, who busts my balls more than anybody else on comments and Facebook and YouTube, he sent me a message and he said, "Call me." I was like, "Oh, freaking crap! What's wrong?" Because he made his first order. He bought the ultimate package for his Greenworks, and I'm like, I don't want to freaking call him. He's gonna just give me a hard time. I'd never met him before. We just, exchanged on Facebook and stuff like that. Plus, he's a Corvette guy, so he's already flawed. So I call him, and he's like, "Matt, I've got to tell you, I think you're full of crap sometimes." I said, "Yeah, I agree with that, but this is legit. Like, it completely transforms the user experience of using a cheap pressure washer. And I know it sounds ridiculous to spend $450 or $420 or $200 on improving a cheap pressure washer, but it makes the experience so much better. And then as you cycle through the inexpensive pressure washer, you just keep using the same stuff over and over again. It really does make it viable. And I've vetted everything. Give you the right nozzles, give you the right orifice on the foam cannon. All you have to do is watch the little video that Bryce made showing you how to hook it up. It's not that hard. It's amazing. Like, I think maybe I'm some sort of genius, because I had to figure this out without having the stuff in front of me. And I send this stuff like, here's the quick disconnects, just twist them in. And people are like, this doesn't fit. I'm like, you're putting it in backwards, dude. I mean, how much? Gosh, how far do I need to get you? I got you 98% of the way there. All you have to do is screw it in. I even taped it for you and torqued it. And they're taking apart like the head of the pump and like trying to screw in, an M22 connection into a 1/4-inch hole. It's like, this doesn't fit. Well, of course it doesn't fit, because you're putting it in the wrong hole, bro. Anyway, sorry for that aside.
That's good, because that brings up, I get a lot of emails from people who sometimes what happens, and I've learned to appreciate this, because I'm no pressure washer expert myself. But sometimes what happens, people will try to buy a piece from here, trying to cut corners and save $8 or whatever it is. Buy some stuff from Amazon, buy some stuff from us, buy some stuff from here. And they get it all in a big pile and they have no idea what to do with it. And then we get an email, hey, how do I do this? And I always tell them and everyone else, hey, the great thing about what Matt set up here is you hit one button, you buy what you need, and there's a video that shows you how to do it, and there's a description.
It's shocking to you when you see that you have a Sunjoe and you need $82 in fittings to make it work. You're like, $82? I can do this for a lot less. And you freaking can't. And what ends up happening is you end up spending at least twice as much. You just don't know it, because you don't, especially if you let's say you're making $200,000 a year and you're spending $10,000 a month on random stuff, and to spend $180 on fittings, that could sneak past you if you're not careful.
Right.
And so I get this all the time. I get all this pushback from people saying that obsessed garage guy, or on the video the kid made. We can talk about that a little bit on $1,700 pressure washer. Should you buy it? No. And a lot of the comments, what's that dude's name? Jermaine Douche or whatever his name is. He got blocked on the channel a long time ago, but he clearly just wants to be my friend, and I don't like him, or didn't say the right thing to him, so he's always attacking. But they're like, the guy is so overpriced. Like, how is it overpriced if I'm selling it below MSRP? I don't understand. It's like the most ridiculous thing. It's because I add it up for you, and if you're not very good at math, then you don't realize that it's just added up to the gosh darn below retail price. Now, maybe you would call it overpriced because I'm not discounting 25% every weekend. Nothing is overpriced. There's no such thing as overpriced. It's just priced, and then you just make a choice of whether you're going to buy it or not. Leave me out of your frickin' stupidity, is what I say. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. What the heck were we talking about?
I'm going to read you another question here, because this person is from Martinique. Last week you mentioned using Colonnade 845, then Beadmaker, one product every 2 or 3 months. Any limits to that? When do you really need to strip everything off?
So I don't think, no, I haven't been testing it long enough, but the beauty of Beadmaker, it doesn't appear that it builds up. And so you can keep using it. Now, it's most likely, I don't want to say certainly, but it's most likely not layering on top. Like, it's not building layer and layer and layer on top of itself. But the beauty of it is that because it doesn't do that, it doesn't build up, and you end up with a film of stuff on the surface. I found that a lot on like spray silica sealants. As you use them regularly, you get kind of a build up to it. So let's say you're in Arizona, where you have sand, but you don't have a lot of rain, you don't have a lot of bugs and things like we would in Central Florida. And maybe Arizona's a bad example because it's so hot. But let's say you're in a climate where the car, it doesn't get rained on a lot. and you just don't end up with a lot of junk on the surface. I mean, if you wash the car and you run your hand across the surface, if it's still sheeting and beating water, and if it doesn't have physical contamination, like you don't feel things on the paint when you run your hand across the clean surface, then there's no reason to decontaminate it. So there's no reason to use a decon wash, the purple soap that I have. There's no reason to iron remove it. There's probably no reason to iron remove it. There's no reason to clay it or to auto scrub it. So if you what you could do is you could add another layer of Colonite whenever you want. But the key requisite here is that you don't have contamination. If you have contamination, you don't want to go buffing on a little pad with Colonite because you're probably going to scratch it. You're going to dislodge the dirt. So you'll know when the car becomes contaminated, you can feel it, combined with the water stops, reacting to it. So for me in Florida, a lot of times that ends up being 8-9 months down the road. The product is starting to fail, or it doesn't look as good, starting to fail a little bit. Water's reacting to it a little differently, and then I'm starting to feel contamination. So that's when I know, and I'll usually stretch that for another couple of months. Try to stretch it as long as possible, but you have to resist the temptation to just go buffing on the paint if there's a lot of contamination on it, and otherwise you're going to scratch it.
All right, we got a couple people asking here. I guess they saw the video about the IK sprayer that you did with the rag company guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So are you going to do any sort of follow-up video, or do you want to speak on your thoughts on that or your experience with that?
So the whole thing that's got me even considering a foamer or like the IK9 or IK 1.5, these foamers is my new buddy Phil, who's Auto Fanatic, which everybody's super excited about, his wheel cleaner. He's put in more work than probably most any chemical provider like a McGuire's or anybody has put into figuring out how to make a specific product. And so he's put a lot of effort and concentration into developing this product. And so it's got me intrigued, as it does a lot of people. And the thing I don't like about it is in order to use it, you've really got to foam it. And so one simple way to foam your wheels is to use a foam cannon. Just have a separate foam cannon, put the product in, and just foam it with your pressure washer. The other option is to use these foamers like IK or I forget what brand Larry Cosilla's is, but you use one of these foaming devices to pressurize the bottle and then spray some product that will dwell a little bit longer. The whole point of foam for a wheel cleaner is to have it dwell longer and hopefully break down some of the brake dust. When using a pH neutral soap, to me the purpose of the foam is for lubrication, and I like that for wheels too. I like the lubrication I get from having that product on the surface. So that's the whole reason for chasing this. And then I partly do this stuff on purpose. I just jump in head first. And I've said this many times. I mean, in the beginning of the videos, you're seeing the body of my testing. You didn't get to see the fumbling. You didn't get to see the dive right in. And I'm showing you the results of years of doing this stuff. And now today, you're seeing the real time process. So I get the foam cannons, and Jeff from the rag company is ready to jump off a bridge because he sent me these things with the intent to, hey, we're going to educate the world on this, and I'm like, this thing sucks. And but I know, first of all, God bless the guys at the rag company for not writing me off. They know how I am and know how I do things and know the process. I don't think they were expecting me to fumble that badly. But I get the product and I test it and I try it, and then I see if it, see if it works for me. And then I have to make a decision process of, is it worth the work to figure out? Because I haven't bought a single thing, it seems, in my entire existence where it just worked out of the box. To everything in this entire garage, none of it worked the first try. These darn mic booms we're speaking on, it took me 4 tries to figure out how to wire the stupid things and not have it buzz. So the process of figuring these things out, is what I'm working through, and then the decision will be, is it good enough? Is the work worth it? And then clearly, once you figure out your dilutions, once you figure out how they work, then it's easy. Everything's easy once you have it figured out. You know, if I rebuilt this desk, we could do it a lot quicker because we know exactly how to do it. And so the IK stuff, I don't know. I don't know if it's the right thing. I'm still unsure I even really need to foam my wheels. But my logic seems a bit flawed, and I'm so concerned about foaming my paint. Why wouldn't I foam my wheels? And that's what I'm attempting to answer. So that's the answer to that question.
Gotcha. All right, here's another question here. Have you paid up on your burpees yet from Thrifty Garage?
I think I'm doing it on Saturday.
That's a no, Thrifty Garage. He hasn't yet.
Another thing I wanted to talk about here, my friend Ed Camden sent this to me. He, as I am a big fan of the Joe Rogan podcast, and he sent me this a post from Joe's page, his web page, or his Facebook page. Excuse the language here, so block your children's eyes. I won't say the words, but Joe has, he's been doing this really interesting. I think I don't know what they call it, but it's like a bed of it's like a tank of water. It's really dense salt, and you go in and you just lay in it and you just float on the top and you meditate in like a dark room.
Sensory depravity or something like that.
Yeah. So, and I don't know that this was about that or not, but his post says, and you can see it on screen here, but his post says, if you're listening on the podcast, says, bro, you some kind of sauna salesman. And he says, I think in a lot of ways, I'm a cool stuff in life salesman. I've always been. I get obsessed with things, and when I find something I love, I think about it all the time, and I can't shut up about it. It can get repetitive, and I've worked hard to curb my tendencies to do that on the podcast. It's how I've always been. Long before I had a podcast, I would give my friends ear bearings on whatever subject I was currently enthralled with. And I obviously can completely relate to this. Now, I do share this ad nauseum, on everything. It's become my existence. It's the brand. It's what Obsessed is. And going back to the discussion of this kid or this guy, Hawk Detailing buys a Krensla. I get them all fired up, right? Because I can't shut up about this darn pressure washer.
Which one did he buy?
He bought the K1122 TST, right? So he bought the cart model. So I get all fired up about this thing, and I'm just, I'm teaching everybody about it. I love it. It's fantastic. And I wouldn't be so enthralled with it if it wasn't so fantastic. And Michelle always tells me, you're such a salesman, and I just don't see it. It because I'm not. It's not like I made this decision one morning to get up and say, okay, what am I going to go sell today? I'm just talking about with enthusiasm, or my version of enthusiasm. I'm talking about something that I'm interested in at the moment. Like right now, I'm searching thermal thermometers. I guess that doesn't make sense. A thermal, whatever you call it, thermal thermometers, infrared thermometer. Yeah. So I'm searching that because I've got to figure out how to get the water spots off the car, and so if I'm going to do it, I'm going to get all the gear. So I'm enamored by this, and I'm chasing it. I'm also considering getting a projector for the home theater. So I'm like I'm enamored in this and just digging to the ends of the earth, and of course the 1M is the current obsession. So this whole idea of, okay, so this guy bought this pressure washer, and the natural reaction is that guy is just doing this to make money, right? He's just doing this to sell me something, and he can't shut up about it. And of course, many of you that are watching this or listening to this, you know what I'm about, so that's why you're here. And you get it, you can relate to it. But it's a fascinating dynamic. That like how can you be? I mean, I'm sort of interested in what your take is on this. How do you not, like, what should I be doing? I don't think I should be approaching things differently, but do you detect salesmen in the conversation, or do you detect this dude just freaking loves this crap, or is it both? You know, that's the question that I ask myself often now.
Yeah, and I think, like, and I get to see your interaction with people when they come in here, and we kind of joke that if they come in and they talk to me, I'll sell them, I'll help them find what they need. But if they come talk to you, they're going to spend $1,000 more, because not just because you're a salesman, because you know about it and you're spreading the gospel of whatever the product is. And all of us, every human on earth, does that to some extent.
Mm-hmm.
Ted and I yesterday were discussing protein powders that we liked. And I was like, I like this one. I've tried this one. I didn't like it. I like this one. This is the one I think you should try. And I'm not selling Progenics. I don't get paid by Progenics. But once I found out, hey, this peanut butter smash is awesome, I want like everyone that I know to try it too.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes with anything. Like if you found something awesome, you don't want to keep it all to yourself. You're like, I want to share this with my friends, with my family, with other people who may be interested, because I want them to enjoy it in the same way that I do. And you, just because you have this platform, and because you are selling, basically, you're perceived that way. I could see how someone would perceive that.
Yeah.
But I also see that, okay, let's say Krenzler pressure washers, just because they're expensive, if you found another one that you liked more, and we discussed this a couple weeks ago, I think you'd say, okay, well, Krenzler was awesome. It's still an awesome alternative, but now I found this Ferrari or whatever, and I like this now, and here's why. This is a little bit better than the Krenzler, and now I want to share that with you. I think we're all salesmen of something.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, you have to be.
Right.
If you're, because business is just interpersonal relationships, right? And so you're always selling. And if you work for somebody, you're selling your employer on why you're valuable. You know, you're selling, and again, I look at selling as just a relationship, and so when I'm sitting there talking about a product that I'm excited about, that I can't shut up about, I can see how that's really off-putting to some. And my natural tendency is I don't freaking care. You know, if it's off-putting, I'm just gonna. Clearly, I care if I'm talking about it, but like I'm not going to stop chasing, pursuing this. Like take Prevost, for example. I use this example all the time. I mean, it's a fantastic product. It's highly engineered. It's beautiful stuff. It's just amazing. It's not all that expensive. You know, the fittings could be priced probably even higher than they are, and people would still, purchase them. But I'm just enthralled with the ability to be able to provide that solution to people that can't otherwise get it. Or if you do get it, you would have to be as obsessed as I am to figure it out. So I want to be able to take what it is, my gift, and then make it as accessible to the world as possible. And some of the stuff I'm going to make accessible, not everybody really wants, or doesn't want a whole heck of a lot of it. And some stuff like like pressure washers, people want a ton of it. And so I think that this Joe Rogan discussion is interesting in that certain people are this way, and I think most people try to swallow it, and I say forget that. I'm gonna just let it loose, and let it loose with a with a vigor that is unmatched, hopefully.
Right, and he's got a far larger platform than you or most people.
Yeah.
And so anything he does, I think, can be seen as, okay, now he's just trying to sell us on this or sell us on this. He's like, no, I just found this really awesome hot dog at Lowe's or Home Depot, and it was awesome, and I want to tell you about it. I'm not selling them.
Yeah, it's an interesting discussion. Interesting to talk about. What else are people asking us here?
Let me give you a couple that are quick answer questions. Somebody wanted to know the brand of that giant subwoofer in your theater room.
It's a JTR 4000 ULF, ultra low frequency. If you want to buy it, I'll sell it to you.
Okay, there you go.
I'll sell it on the cheap.
Are you coming to the UK anytime in 2019?
I don't think so. I just booked another trip. Oh, I'm going on the Smoking Tire. So I booked a trip to Los Angeles. I'm going to Jay Leno's. We're going to do a Krensla K1322, do like a custom install setup there. Me and Jeremy and Chris run are part owners of Jay Leno's car care line. So we're going to go do that. Maybe Jay will be there, maybe he won't be. And then I'm going out to McGuire's to do some product testing with the head McGuire's product guys. It's going to be super cool.
When is that? That's March?
That's March 20th. I think I'm going to Smoking Tire on March 26th. That's going to be pretty cool.
Where did you get the interior glass windscreen telescopic arm cleaner?
It's from a company called Stoners, and you can get it on Amazon. I'll have it soon. By soon, I mean who knows when. Someday.
Do you have any recommendations on wireless headphones for gym use?
No, I don't like to listen to music at the gym on my head, on my person. I like to have speakers. A lot of people use the Beats over ear. I forget which version they are, but yeah, no, I'm not an expert in that.
This is Canadian person, so I probably shouldn't even read it because I don't know.
Chris hates Canadians.
I have Canadian friends. I just dislike most of them. Canadian winter washing. Don't want to winterize my garage water supply, not heated garage. Would you install a water solenoid on the inside to toggle off and on, or would there be a better solution?
I mean, I guess you could. I mean, I think if I were subject to that, I would probably just have compressed air available and build a little quick disconnect. I've seen a lot of guys do that, where I could pop a quick disconnect on and just blow out the lines, after use. That's what I would probably do if I had to winterize stuff. But I have never really chased that to have to deal with that. I should send a Krensla to Rick's Audi Double. I need to send him one, and then he could do all this testing for us.
One person asked about the difference between paint on German cars versus Japanese cars.
In my experience, Japanese has always been thinner and softer. German has always had lots and lots of peel, lots of orange peel. I know I'm generalizing here, but Germans tend to be the paint tends to be harder, and harder, thicker, and more orange peel. But again, that's a pure generalization. It can be different from color to color, from car to car, from even the same car to car. That's one of those things. That's one of the reasons why detailers, why experience is so valuable.
Going back to your discussion about wheels and tires earlier, are you doing tire mounts there as well, or at the dealership? Jared is really nervous about anyone touching the center locks on the GT3 RS.
Generally, I take the wheels there raw, so I don't take the car. So I'll take the wheels off. Take them to the tire mounting place. I bring the wheels here, and then I put them on myself, because the likelihood of them jacking up, unless I'm going to be there, is pretty high. Yeah, the GT3, they can't take it off. The only place that I have tires mounted on the GT3, if I'm not going to take them off myself, would be at the dealer, at the Porsche dealer, because they have the tool and they know what to torque it and they know how to torque it. They follow the service bulletin. Like for instance, you're not supposed to break the nut loose on the ground. You have to break it in the air, and so you have to have somebody sit there and hold the brake, and you do it in the air, which is completely counter to what you would think. So I always take it there separately.
Do you have a preference as to what's better, glass or ceramic coatings?
Well, they're the same thing. Both of them are a bogus name for just some sort of silicone or titanium dioxide or magnesium carbide, which would be that's Optimum's version. So ceramic, I guess technically, is the same physical makeup as glass. It's just a different bond, different makeup, maybe even a different sand or different silicone. So when you're talking ceramic, you're talking glass. It's the same freaking thing. It's just branded that way. Really, what it is, it's a resin-based, silicon dioxide delivery system. So there's a solvent in there that then evaporates and then it hardens, and you end up with some silicon dioxide or titanium dioxide particles floating in a resin that then loosely bonds to your painted surface. Bonds more, I guess the bond is better than wax or a polymer sealant. And then you have arguments from all different sides. Like, for instance, Optimum suggests that their magnesium carbide based resin delivery system is something that cross-links with the surface of the paint, whereas it's a traditional titanium dioxide coating, or silicon dioxide coating, I should say, traditional, will simply grab on to the imperfections of the surface, so it's not as strong of a bond. But I mean, I guess you'd have to get a microscope out and know what you're looking for to be able to figure that out. So ceramic, glass really doesn't matter. My big suggestion is stay away from the douchey marketing companies, because we shouldn't. Not that they're, like, for instance, Ceramic Pro is. I don't have any experience with it. I've seen it in person. It looks pretty strong coating-y. If it has a different sort of gloss to it that some coatings have. What I think we shouldn't do. I think we shouldn't reward poor marketing and irrational over-promising with our money. That we shouldn't reward them with that. I know there are lots of great Ceramic Pro installers that are probably smart to use that to bring people in the door, because it is the most commonly known product. But the bull crap they come up with, 5 layers, 8 layers, 10-year warranties, all this stuff is ridiculous. It might still be on the surface, but you'll be so contaminated that it won't even do anything. So I'm a big proponent of choose. There's lots of great companies. I mean that are not over-promising. CarPro is by far. Corey represents the U.S. from the CarPro angle is, I think, the most realistic of any coding educator, where he's talking about, look, this isn't going to last forever. You still have to wash your freaking car. You still have to touch the paint. None of this bull crap that they come up with.
Any chance of doing some orange peel removal guides or videos? My new Audi is driving me nuts.
No. The disadvantage on like an Audi, I mean, you just don't have a lot of paint to be able to do that. So you'd remove the peel. I mean, the only way I would do it is if it was like a really, really a car that I rarely drove. So a car that you really love, and it's not going to see a lot of washes. It's not going to see a lot of touching. It's not going to see a lot of driving. You're putting the OE clear that's really, really thin in comparison to older hand painted or newly painted, like a body shop paint. If you start to level that clear, then you end up with significant reduction in the UV inhibitors that are in that top layer of the polyurethane, the clear coat. So it's just not a smart thing to do. So no, I won't be doing that.
Do you have any thoughts or experience on the Krenzla 175 TST? This sounds like one of our European friends here. Water output is 3.1 GPM and for 400 volts, but I can't find does it have instant shutdown or 30-second wait after.
No, those won't have total stop. They'll call it TS. But it won't. They generally won't have a pressure switch on it. They generally run or cycle longer. Those bigger machines, those higher flowing machines, are designed for long-term use. Use in factories and things like that for long periods of time. And so they generally, almost all of them run for 30 seconds, and they're loud. They're going to be like my K165 STS, the 2.8 GPM, 2800 PSI model. That is now the KW700 here in the U.S. That machine, it's probably 85 dB, at 10 feet in a room, maybe 90 dB. Whereas these, like the regular Krenzla measured 64 to 68. So they're really loud. They'll shake your wall. and it kind of defeats the purpose versus gas, because they're really loud unless you just want it to be mounted and instant on, which is what I wanted in my wash bay. So I don't have any neighbors nearby. I'm on 6 acres, so it works well for me. But next time I do it, I'm going to build a room for it, so I don't have to hear it, or not as much.
A couple of questions here about possible, I know you've mentioned this before, possible open house / garage sale. Is that something you still plan to do in the near future?
Yeah, I think we're going to do it. So once we get the pressure washers out of here, or most of them, I'm going to finish up a couple of things. Once my cabinets are done, I get the last parts and pieces from that. We're gonna have an open house. We're gonna call it Obsessed Garage Sale. And what we're probably gonna do, we were talking about this the other day. What we'll probably do is do a live, YouTube live stream, and we'll have all the products laid out, all the stuff that I've got laid out with a label on it. You'll be able to come here locally and just hang out, and we'll barbecue or something like that. And then we'll do a live online. Hey, if you want this, send an email right now, and so we'll have somebody managing that, and we'll get rid of all this extra stuff that I have laying around, which will all be quality stuff for sure.
Yeah, I can vouch for that. There's all sorts of very nice stuff sitting around here not being used, so I would look out for that. How's the protection film holding up on the GT3 RS?
Good, yeah. Other than the rear with yellowing, which that'll be a video coming up in the next week or two, where I put the cats back on, play with the AWE exhaust, and then figure out how to either fix or remove the film. So that'll be also in part of that series will be the testing of the Dupre steamer that I bought, because I do need to remove the window film as well, the ExoShield. I need to remove that.
There's a question up at the top about what's Michelle driving? What's the story on the Raptor? Any plans for anything with that in the future?
No, it needs to be washed, that's for sure. The Raptor's starting to develop some contamination. We're coming up on 2 years here of the sea quartz, which has held up really well. I mean, I beat the crap out of that thing. I've only washed it maybe 8-10 times in the last 2 years. I seem to wash it like every other month, and if I'm lucky. So at some point we'll have to polish that off and put something else on it. We'll probably do a crystal serum light or something like that. But no, Raptors, I'm not really going to mess with it. I think we'll probably, we don't have any aspirations to change that car. Hopefully if Obsessed Garage does like 15 million this year, then next year I'll get her a Range Rover or something. We'll see. Sure.
A couple of people asked about the Rupes training coming up, the advanced course. I know you spoke to that in the past, but could you address that again?
Yeah, I got to get some people to sign up for it. I only have 2 people out of 20, so not looking good. That's in March. It's going to be awesome. So, sign up for it. Otherwise, I'll have to cancel it. I think a lot of people are on the fence. It's a lot of money. It's $1,500. I think it'll be the best $1,500 you ever spent in your life. It'll save you a lot of money over time by learning some techniques and learning what products work for you. And of course, I'm going to be there telling you what to buy. So it's one of those things that I think, and I think you'll end up, like I say, of the bigger regular group as event, just the same with the advance, you're going to end up leaving there with a new, really good friend for the rest of your life. There's pretty much no question. As long as you come open and willing to learn, it's going to be awesome, and we're going to do a live meeting before and after, which is also going to be cool, getting to know one another and learning processes from other people. And we'll have some high level guys and lower level guys, so they'll be able to really, really learn from each other. I find that even if you are higher level and you watch what lower level guys are fumbling with, it helps reinforce. You start to figure things out that maybe as you see them without any bad habits, you start to see yours even more. But you're gonna have to know how to use a polisher to come to that thing.
A couple questions about expansion, whether the back of this building, another building. I know last week you mentioned you were about to meet with those folks regarding another building. So is there any sort of update there?
Yeah, I talked about, it was meeting with the realtor to talk about the building. Well, the problem is the building, the guy bought, so it was for sale for like $350, and the guy bought another crappy little piece of land and attached it to it. and he doesn't want to sell it without that. So now it's $550,000 for a 3,200. I thought it was 3,600. It's 3,200 square feet. So now we're what, $120 or $180 a square foot if you factor in a little crappy piece of land. And that piece of land that's attached to it is going to be problematic to get zoned to do warehousing. It's not already zoned for that, so to have to appeal for that. And so it's $550,000 for a really crappy building that we're going to have to spend. I did some research. I'd have to spend about $45,000 to $50,000 to get it insulated, conditioned, gutted, and set up. That's without any racking or anything like that to make it viable. So it's probably not in the cards. I don't know, man. I'd like to buy this building. That's the goal. But Ian, what I'm gonna need, we're probably gonna need more than that. But we'll just run it leaner. We'll run lower inventory, and we'll just run out of stock more often than I would like. And we'll all live in harmony here, tightly. And it's a smarter move. I've got to get through tax season, or I'm sure I'll file for an extension. But I've said this before. I've got to get through, the finalization of my Raymond James contract and all of that before I get crazy. And maybe we'll be fine here forever. Who knows? If we keep doing what we're doing, then we'll all be happy. We'll have a good job and a good business. But I do think it's not far off from where we're going to need. I'm going to try to buy the building here shortly. That would help hold us over for 6 or 8 months until they got to figure out what I'm going to do next. So I don't know. I don't know the answer. I thought the answer was going to maybe be that building, but it just wouldn't be smart financially to do that.
And I don't know if you wanted to mention this or how much detail you want to go in, but I sent you an update the other day just about our growth January over January.
Mm-hmm.
Because some people ask, we get visitors here and they see, okay, you're going to outgrow this space soon. You talk about wanting to grow it to a certain number. People ask, well, how are things going now that you're full time? Like, just speak to the growth that OG's experiencing.
Yeah, what did you say? Last January did 124,000 and change. This January we were at in January, what are we, the 17th today?
Yeah.
So we're 194,000 today, so we're on track. We'll probably do 380 to 400, something like that this month, and we don't even have the custom install stuff available. I'm ecstatic about it. I think that we don't even have the whole product line built out. And again, my whole long-term vision isn't just retail stuff, but there's lots and lots of cool stuff that I have to, that I want to have, and I want to put up in the store and make available to people. So I think it can keep, I think it can keep growing substantially, significantly. Also, in the end, the ability to continue to negotiate down shipping rates, and then hopefully get to the point to where we can offer things more and more efficiently. So spray bottles are coming, Prevost products are coming. The Scan Grip, the new lighting stuff is coming. The
Ego blowers.
Still? Hopefully. I haven't heard from the guy, so it's not looking good. Ego blowers. Again, I would like to sell Milwaukee electric tools, so we'll see if I can chase that here this year. So I'd like to be able to provide people with value in all of these different things. And if we can do that, then I think that people will keep coming back. And then if we can keep improving. Right now we're drinking from a fire hose, building it all out from scratch. But what I really enjoy is the improvement upon things. Like if I have a hat, I want to make the hat better. But right now we have a hat, and I want to make it better, but the hat is the 47th thing on the list to make better. It's already great, but I want it to be better than great. I want it to be the next iteration. So anyway, I'm working on that stuff. We're chugging along here, doing better than I ever would have envisioned. So.
Our YouTube fans, they really enjoy collaborations when you get together with other YouTube guys. I know you mentioned going on the Smoking Tire podcast in March, but do you have any other planned, or are you reaching out? Is there somebody else you'd like to get together with?
Yeah, I really want to do something with Jason from Engineering Explained. I should get him. I don't know him. We've emailed back and forth a couple of times. I think I'd like to talk to him about maybe doing his garage or something like that. I'm going to go out and do stuff with the Jay Leno people. I don't know how extensive that will get. We'll do more stuff with Tavares. I'm sure Larry and I will get together, do something at some point. Ammo NYC. I'd like to do stuff with the guys from Gears and Gasoline. I've got to call Mark Sanu, Savage Geese. I got to get him down here, even if I have to buy his darn plane ticket to force him to come hang out. Now that I have the 1M, maybe I can convince him to come down here and drive that. I don't think he has a 1M video on his channel. Who else? Oh, we'll always do stuff with Adam LZ. Tommy F, in the summer I'm probably going to go up there and we're going to do a Krenzel solution in his garage, so he and I will do some collaboration stuff together. Who else? Joe knows best. At some point I'll get out to Houston and do stuff with him. Maybe do some more stuff with VinWiki. What else? I need to get more people here. I'm sure Nick Murray will be down in Florida at some point, so I'll do some videos with Nick. Got to get Nick to drive the E92, the 1M, the GT3 RS. He hasn't done any of those of my car, so next time he's here. I do love collaborating as well. I love watching when people collaborate. Again, like I said, my longer-term goal is to get on the Joe Rogan podcast telling the story of obsession someday. Who knows?
Hey, maybe somebody watching today knows him, so hook us up. Here's a good question for you, easy one. Any recommendations on air compressors?
Yeah, Jenny is, I think, the best. It's an American-made piston compressor. So Jenny for piston, Kaiser for rotary screw, so I would do Jenny. Well, I'm a Jenny dealer, so I can get you whatever you want, and I can advise you on what size and how to size that, and then of course how we need to connect the connections to it. So hit me up on that, and I'll tell you the skinny on rotary versus scroll versus piston, and why you would do one over the other, and can you do a receiver tank and all that. So I finally have a really good handle on compressed air. It's complicated, but we can kind of dumb it down and make it work for you.
I saw a question here about, other than like automotive YouTubers or detailing, that sort of thing, what other YouTube channels are you watching, or do you care about watching?
I watch iJustine and MKBHD for tech stuff, Apple stuff, or tech stuff. I watch the Joe Rogan stuff. That's been a current thing. I didn't always watch Joe Rogan. That's been more of a new thing, where I'll select certain people that he's talking to. Matt Reisinger, who's a building guy, build stuff. Those are the three main non-car things that I do, and I spend a lot of time on the not a lot of time, but some time on like the home theater Facebook page. Home theater is still a thing of mine. I like it. I've started to get into it a little bit more. I'm going to start doing some stuff in the home theater, tweaking it a little bit. I've been considering, like I said, getting a projector, and it's just so tough because to do a projector right, it's going to be at least $12,000 to do just a mediocre projector. A new laser projector, true 4K projector. They're $25,000 to $35,000. It's just ridiculous. I'm just not going to do that. What else do I watch? I'm always looking for stuff, but I can't. I don't know. It has to like catch me.
Well, any sort of like food, nutrition,
no,
anything like that?
No, I don't
Workout?
watch any of those stuff. No. I used to watch, some CrossFit type stuff, but no. I did watch. I just watched and we'll tend to binge watch stuff. The Handmaid's Tale. You ever watch that show?
No.
It's pretty legit. It's a pretty good show. I've been watching that.
I'm watching Ozark right now with Megan.
Yeah, I watched the first season of Ozark, and the second season's been out. I just can't. I've tried to watch the first episode 3 times. I'm just not into it. I don't know why. You should get going on that.
This is something I know this has come up in emails to you and me in the past. For active duty military guys, they move every 2 to 3 years. Sometimes they go away. Their car's left in storage. They come back. Any suggestions? This one's asking any suggestions on mobile cabinets or other mobile car wash opinions. I know I've gotten emails about, hey, what can I do to protect my car while I'm gone?
Well, I mean, if I was going to store it, obviously flat stoppers. So you'd want to air up your tires a little bit, put flat stoppers on it, and get a trickle charger. Right, those would be three things you would want to do. Fuel stabilizer as well. But the paint really shouldn't matter. I mean, if it's waxed or it's sealed or it's coated, I would get a car cover for it. And if it's outside, car covers are tricky outside because bugs and rodents and crap get up under this, and it almost entices them to come up under there. If it's going to sit outside, I would employ someone or find someone to go and drive it around the block once a month or something like that. Someone you trust. But if it were sitting outside I would definitely coat the thing. I'd have some sort of coating on it, and try to get it covered if you could. But I mean, that's about all. I mean, otherwise, if you think about it, if the car's sitting there and it's stored, then the paint should be fine. There really shouldn't be anything you need to do to it, unless it's in some extreme temperature. But even then, I mean, if it's not out in the sun, it shouldn't be an issue. The bigger issue is fuel and battery. Keep the battery on a trickle charger.
All right, and this question's come up a couple times here are you already thinking about what's next after the 1M? Or are you all...
Yeah.
Okay, so do you have a couple choices?
I've thought about calling my buddy Justin at Weichert Ford and getting a GT500. When's a GT500 supposed to come out?
I don't think they have a date.
Yeah, I don't know if they've released a date on it yet. I thought about the Supra as well, buying one of those. The Supra probably wouldn't last long for me, but I think it'd be cool. I think doing a Supra would be better a little later. I don't have to be the first. Like, I'm not looking for chasing views or trying to be cool. I would just want it for the experience, and I think a Supra would be better because there'd be more stuff. Wheels and brakes and suspension and intakes and stuff like that, and tunes and things like that after a while. Yeah, so I think the next car I'm seriously thinking I'm going to buy a Z06 manual. I was looking at the configurator. I think it's going to be much smarter to buy it used because those things just absolutely get destroyed. So you can buy like a $100,000 Z06 for probably $65,000. I don't.
Grand Sport.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing I thought about doing, Bryce just asked about Grand Sport, you get a Grand Sport, then a Z06, and then a ZR1. I just don't think I'm going to have that much of a stomach for that many Corvettes. Like, in theory, it would be cool, do the progression. My guess is a Corvette is going to be like a really short thing, like, and there won't be a whole lot to do to them. But it'll be fun to chase and get on the forums and learn about it and figure out a little bit. We'll have to, if we get a Corvette, though, we're going to have to switch out the Swiss tracks to some crazy, like, purple and orange checkerboard.
Get the Sonic Tools Corvette edition.
Yeah, I'm going to have to swap out to Sonic Tools Corvette edition. I'm going to have to get a leather jacket. What is it with like from football back in the day? You had like the Letterman's jacket, or you had the fuzzy, or was it leather arms and the fuzzy vest? Yeah. You had like the fuzzy vest and leather arms with the and pop the collar with the big Corvette emblem.
Or you can go old white gentleman jean shorts, white New Balance.
Yeah, white. You got to get white New Balance.
Eat at Olive Garden for every meal.
Yeah. Sorry, Corvette guys. This isn't going to go. Maybe I shouldn't get a Corvette.
I would love a Corvette, but I don't know.
Yeah, company car.
Yeah, I'd be willing to drive it.
I always hated the interior on them. They always looked just outdated. Now they're getting better.
I think I think a Corvette would be something next. But I do love the idea of a strokered E92 M3. So when on the last video, people were like, "Well, did you know that Steve Dinan sold the company?" Yes, I freaking knew that. That's what I was talking about. So Steve Dinan sold Dinan, right? So he sold Dynan to a private equity firm, same company that bought, a private equity group bought Dynan, they bought APR, and they bought Holley carburetors, Holley aftermarket stuff. And so they moved Dynan to the APR headquarters in Opelika, which right outside Auburn, so Auburn, Alabama. And so now it's kind of odd that you have Dynan and APR in the same building. I'm actually going there to tour it. But I talked to the Dynan guys about hey, can we do a Dynan stroker? And Steve Dynan, when he sold the company, retained, he didn't sell the intellectual property for the engine builds, the crankshafts and the connecting rods and all the stuff that he does to stroke it. So that's still available via his new company, which he bought, which from what I can tell was a big service provider in Northern California, and they do a lot of servicing of cars, and then they have like a performance division of it called Carbon Auto Works. And so what I would like to do is, and I don't know, we'll see how this works. So we're working on a membership program. The basic premise behind the membership program is you log into the website to obsessedgarage.com, and you have two options. You can pay $60 to just be a member. And being a member, I'm going to keep it really simple. I'm not trying to entice with some crazy, all this weird crap. When you pay the $60, we're going to do more podcasts there over and above what we're doing now. So we'll do an additional podcast, a video podcast, and we'll do I'll do a real deal day in the life, show you my sock drawer type vlog, once a week to keep you in the loop of what's going on with me as a human and Obsessed Garage as a business. It's going to be called Inside the Hex. So it's access to me, more access than you're already getting now. That's going to be $60 a year. The thought process is that, at least for this initial raffle, or giveaway, I hate calling it that, but will be, you sign up for, so we'll have a big launch event or something. I'll make some videos and say, that we're starting the membership program, and we'll say for 2 months, everybody who signs up gets an entry into the 1M drawing. And we'll just draw a name out of a hat or have a random number generator and somebody gets the 1M after I have it all set up exactly the way I want, dialed in, all the parts ready to go. So I'll probably have $70,000 into the thing. And then the secondary option of the membership program will be, if you want, if you're a frequent purchaser in the store, you get 10% off and free shipping. So that'll be $240. So if you think about this logically, if you were going to buy some cabinets, you're going to spend $10,000. Pay the $250, and then you save $1,000. It's a no-brainer. I do this all the time with AMSOIL. I become a member, and then I get to buy it. It ends up costing me less to become a member as long as I make 2 purchases of the oil. And so those people would probably get 2 entries into the 1M drawing, and then. The key here is that hopefully I could get like 2,000 people to do it. And so let's say I'm $70,000 into the car, and if I got 1,000 people to sign up for the base and 500 people to sign up for the 250, then what is that? Let's say there's 1,000 of each. Then I make some money. What was that? $70,000 and another $250,000, and so I could theoretically raise $300,000 for a $70,000 car that I'm giving away. Now, some of those people probably would have signed up for the membership program anyway. So I don't know. Maybe that's a pipe dream to raise that much money, but that's what all these guys are doing, by the way. What everybody getting, they're having a giveaway. They're not giving away dick. They're making hundreds of thousands of dollars on these cars,
right?
And usually a piece of crap, and the Stradman's auctioning, giving away a McLaren. He probably made $400,000 doing that. Him and that really shady company that were doing it together. And they're, there's not some, and I think most people know this, but there's not some benevolent purpose behind me giving away the 1M. I'm going to sell it, or I'm going to give it away or raffle it. And if I could do it and make 100 grand doing it, then I can buy a Z06 and do it again. And maybe pocket some money while I'm doing it as well and reinvest that back into doing something else. Or just pocket it, So I've been thinking about, should I just share the numbers? If it's a membership program, it's easy. I'll just tell how many people signed up. So we had 1,200 people sign up. So I raised $122,000. The car cost me $72,000. So we made $50,000. I'm going to take that $50,000 and I'm going to put a Dining Stroker in the M3 and I'm going to share the video. And you get to watch it, but I got to get it for free. And I think that most people, I think that some people will still hate on that, but I think that most people wouldn't give a crap. I say, hey man, if I got a 1 in 1,200 chance to win a 1M, I'm in. But it's weird because I don't gamble. I've literally never played the lottery. I've never bought a scratch-off ticket. I've never walked by a slot machine and put a quarter in it. I've never played blackjack. It's just not my style. I don't do things by chance. I make them happen. So that's what I don't like about it. But, I think one tact could just be, hey, can you guys help me out? I'm going to sell this thing. I could sell it for basically what I paid for it, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little less. Or we can make it kind of fun and do this. I hope I can do it I keep saying this without being a douche about it. I think one way to do it is to be transparent. The only problem is if, let's say I raised $500,000, I don't think anybody will ever do another raffle ever again.
You just buy a really nice car to give away the next time.
Yeah.
A $400,000 car.
Yeah. And then if I lost it, I lost, it was house money.
Yeah.
Now I'm betting on black. So that's the methodology. That's the thought process. So I got to figure out legally how to do that. And then whoever wins the car, gets the car, you're on your frickin' own. You're going to pay tax on it.
Okay, how about somebody's asking here about international.
No, you legally can't do that. I mean, okay. Europe is a nightmare. Even just sending a darn volatile bead maker to, it would have to be 48, lower 48, or if you're in Hawaii, then you're going to have to pay the whatever $3,000 to get it there. And the risk is you end up with someone who wins it that doesn't have means, to do it. Now, let's say I'm 18 and I want a 1M. You're going to pay, and so let's say we valued it at the Kelley Blue Book value of $36,000 or something. And so you get it. I'm going to issue you a 1099. Now, actually, you wouldn't be able to do that because I'm going to issue a 1099 for $70,000. So I get the write-off, right, as a business. So you're going to get a 1099 that showed you $70,000 in income. Let's say you're 18 and you're making $12,000. Now you're making $82,000 in income, which means you're going to pay whatever the marginal rate ends up being after your personal exemption, standard deduction, all of that stuff. You're going to end up with, adjusted gross income of, say, $50,000, of which you're going to pay, a blended rate of, say, 11.5%. Because it'll be 1099 miscellaneous, I don't think it would count as self-employment income. So you're going to pay, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 in tax to receive the car. So if I'm 18, I'm going to take all the frickin' $20,000 in parts that are on the thing. I'm going to go on one Addicts, and I'm going to sell all of those parts. I'm going to pay the tax with the money, the proceeds from that, and I'm going to have a 1M that I got for free. So don't give me any crying the blues about you got to pay tax. It's the stupidest thing I ever heard. If you win the lottery, don't spend it all. Pay the tax. So anyway, that's my methodology. I can't pay the tax. If I pay the tax, now you just have more income. So now you got to pay even more tax. And it's an endless loop of tax paying if somebody else pays your tax. Or just hit up your dad and say, Dad, I won a $70,000 car. Can you spot me 10 G's?
You don't have a dad? Find a credit union.
Yeah. Find someone to borrow it from. Take out a loan against the car to pay the tax.
All right, so upcoming events here when people can see you. We got Rupes regular training coming up next week.
It's still open if you want to sign up. I mean, there's 28 people signed up, 30 people signed up, something like that. So you $750, January 23rd through the 20 whatever. So it's next Thursday. Thursday and Friday. So if you want to come to Denver, get a plane ticket and come out there. Buy the ticket to the Rupas event, of course. Then I'll be in what's the next thing?
Dine-In Sonic trip.
Yeah, Dine-In Sonic trip on the 24th or 21st and 22nd to Auburn. I won't have a lot of time. Like I'm flying in the morning, heading to Sonic. I'll be with Sonic all day, and then I'm doing a quick tour of Dine-In. I can't bring you guys with me, so I can't bring people with me on the tour. I don't know. And I'll probably be having dinner with Sonic, so just don't even count on me being there. I'm flying into Atlanta and driving over to Auburn. Then the Rupes main train, the advanced training in the middle of March. There's two groups, so please sign up for that. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to cancel it. Then
Los Angeles.
Then I'm going to Los Angeles, going to Smoking Tire, Jay Leno, McGuire. So I got to book that flight. Then we're doing the Monterey trip. So I'm going to San Francisco. So I'll be in San Francisco on what date is that?
23rd, day after Easter.
Yeah.
Or, excuse me.
So 23rd, 24th, I'll be in San Francisco. And I'm heading down to Monterey. We're going to do some driving. We're going to go to Gordon McCall's garage from McCall Motor Works. We're going to go check out his stuff. So if you're in Northern California or somewhere in California, you want to come drive with us, just hit me up. We'll get you all the info on that. And then right after that, I get back and I'm going to the GT3 event in the mountains. Now, which you can't come to that unless you have a GT3 or you'd have to be signed up. There's going to be 100 GT3s, 120 GT3s all in one spot. It's going to be awesome. Or GT3, GT2s, GT4s, Porsche GT cars are going to be there, 911R, stuff like that. And then I think that's it, right?
That takes you through May.
Yeah. That's
the guy who doesn't like to travel is traveling a lot. So I apologize in advance if you meet Matt for the first time at the tail end of that trip.
I'll be wound tightly. Yeah. I'm taking applications for drivers to drive me around all this stuff, so I'm not all strung out on adrenaline. So yeah, what time is it? 1:20.
1:32.
Oh shoot, we're an hour and a half.
Yep.
When are we starting? That's pretty sweet. Any other last questions anybody has? It was interesting before we wrap it up here.
Hold on.
Oh no, we have matching shirts.
2 for 3.
Was that an accident?
2 for
Or
3.
did you do that on purpose? How do you even have that shirt? That's a limited edition. We don't make that shirt anymore.
I can't tell you, but
Oh,
matching
Lord.
shirts.
Yeah. Anyway, all right, people. Thanks for watching. We're gonna get to a point of structure on these things. I kind of like this willy-nilly answer questions, talk through what's going on currently, and just give people insight into what's going on. You help keep me somewhat on track. So hopefully people enjoy this longer term and get inside access to what's going on here. And make sure you come here when you can. If you're in the neighborhood, come visit us. I'd like to meet you.
And thank you all for contributing those questions in the chat, by the way, as well, because that gives us some good content to use. It also kind of lets us know what people are looking for when it comes to products they want to see in the store and what they need to help them get their own stuff dialed in.
So what we'll do for next week is we're going to actually next week we'll probably have to do it sooner. So we'll schedule it because I'll be leaving Thursday, so we'll have to do it Wednesday. So we're gonna put it up on the page on the YouTube channel so people will know to come early instead of we make it public like 8 minutes before we start. So let's plan on Wednesday at 11 a.m. I think we can do that. We'll have to look at the calendar, but we'll have it on the YouTube channel, so go check that out. I'll have a vlog up tonight that I did. It was Sunday and Tuesday. I vlogged, so that'll be up tonight. I'm going to have a video of me coating the wheels, probably doing the downpipes on the 1M. So G-Technic C5 DIY / tutorial or whatever you want to call it. We're going to do the K5s next week. K4, K5. I don't want to do it. It's too freaking cold. Hopefully it'll warm up. We'll have lots of videos on the 1M here probably this weekend. So thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one. Stay tuned for more crazy. Peace out.